everyone else, we're going to go into the IEP Progress Monitoring Wizard. When you go into the Progress Monitoring Wizard, you begin to look very quickly, and these are your students that you have access to. If you are missing a student here, then it's because you need to go back to that Goals and Objectives page, scroll to the bottom, and click that button, Log Progress Monitoring for an existing IEP. And that will move your students into this wizard. In this case, we were working on Grace, and Grace is in our wizard. You can check everyone in your Progress Monitoring Wizard, or you can check none and only check the student that you want to log your progress monitoring on. In this case, let's just click on Grace. You have two choices here: log progress monitoring for non-ESY goals and objectives, or log progress monitoring for ESY goals and objectives. We're working in the school year, so we're going to log progress for non-ESY goals and objectives. When I click Continue, her goals will begin to appear and objectives. So this is Grace's goals and objectives based on that goal page that we worked on earlier. You will see down here we added this: Grace will display and analyze data for real-world problems with 75% accuracy. That was all brought over by clicking that one button. From this page, let's just talk about the components. We have where you can expand everything. That means all the goals and all the objectives. You have a button for collapsing everything, which is what you're looking at now. All the goals are collapsed, all the objectives are collapsed. You can just expand the goals, or you can collapse all the goals. Depending on what you're wanting to log on this particular day, you would probably go in and either, if you just did reading, maybe you just want to log the reading. So you would just expand the reading. And then here's your assessment. It was work samples, and you would expand it again. If you wanted to expand everything, you have data for a whole week and you're going to add a lot, you may want to expand everything and look at it. Let's take a look at Grace's and see what's been completed so far. Here is a goal: the student will increase receptive and expressive language. You have what says PM, that means Progress Monitoring Assessment. The tool that's being used as your progress monitoring for this, according to the IEP, is data collection. And then you have a button that you can log scores. On this particular one, no one has logged scores yet, so no data has been collected for this particular event. Let's scroll down and look at the reading. The reading goal is listed. The progress monitoring assessment is work samples. And some data has already been added, and so a graph has been created. Down here is the data that's actually been added for this student. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to make this a little bit larger for you so you can see the screen a little bit. Let's look at the graph itself. Let's look at the graph. The first thing when you log data is that each piece of data that you log, each score the student masters or performs back for you, is listed, and it creates a diamond. This is a green diamond. Each of those are individual data scores that have been entered into the graph. The very first one has this black box around it. That's called your baseline. It's the very first score. That's where you're going to start from. And as soon as you do a very first score, it draws the line for you to another box, and that is the target. That is the target that was set in the IEP for that student. So this is called your target line. The next line is your progress line. This is the green line that has those diamonds for each of the data pieces. So that's actually the progress that the student is making. This blue dot down here, this blue circle actually is a time that you would normally collect data, but maybe the student was absent or the provider was absent. For some reason, that data was not collected on that day, but you want to say that you tried to collect the data or that data wasn't collected that day. That's a no score, and it just shows up at the bottom line as a blue circle. The next line is this dashed line. This is called the trend line. Every time you go in and open up to even log more data, you will always see the trend line based on the student's performance over the given time. If they continue to learn and grow at this rate, based on the interventions that you're targeting, the direct instruction that you're giving the student, if this continues, this target line is drawn to say this is where this child will end. And you can tell this child is having great success on her reading with the interventions that are going on. If she continues to grow at this speed of her knowledge, she will surpass the target that you actually have. This is where the team can begin to start making decisions on, do we need to start working on the next level of skill? Do we need to just show that this one's mastered and create a whole new goal? Once it's mastered, you can target that instead of waiting till the end of the IEP. You also can target if that trend line is going straight down and begin to make decisions about instruction and say, oh, let's stop now and break it down. Put in a new intervention. Begin with a new direct instruction piece to see if we can get that trend line to meet the goal that we have set for the end of the year. So this graph will tell the team a lot. Let's go on down and take a look. Down here is all of the data points that were listed for up above. I'm going to shrink this down so you can kind of see the whole thing together. Bear with me. I know it's smaller to see. But here's your graph. Each one of these data points is represented down here. You put in the date, you put in the score, and you put in comments if you want to. You know, we talked about this one blue dot here. It's down here. It's marked underneath the no score, and it says student was absent. So those are all your data points. In this particular case, why don't we go ahead and log some more, and I'll show you what that looks like.